If you aren't doing this one thing, you're missing out on 90% of potential earnings and you're leaving a lot of money on the table. And so whether you're a coach, somebody running a service business, etc., chances are your main way of advertising is direct response. So paid ads, cold outbound, etc. And if you're somebody who's purely relying on direct response, you're missing out on 90% or more potential money you could have made if you started leveraging this one thing. And this one thing is having a personal brand. Okay? But it's not your fault because everyone teaches direct response as the go-to way of getting customers. Sure, it might be the fastest, but you're sacrificing making even more money for the speed of making money. And so the thing with direct response is that it's linear. The more money you put into your ads, the more outreach you send, the more of the same outcome you get. And so in this example, let's say you're sending 25 cold DMs. You send 25 cold DMs, you get one response. Send 25 more cold DMs, you get one response. Send 25 more cold DMs, you get one response. Or paid ads. You put $25 into your ads, $25 ad spend, one lead, $25 ad spend, one lead, $25 ad spend, one lead. It's not compounding. And in your business, you want to at least have one flywheel in your business that compounds. Okay? And so the thing with content is that it compounds, meaning that the outcome multiplies onto itself. And so here's a visual portrayal of that. For example, you start making content, okay, certain amount of viewers, one person who trusts you, you make even more content, your audience doubles, even more people trust you, you make even more content, you put in the effort, now you have a large audience and more people that trust you, okay? But the thing is that it takes time and people aren't willing to go through that period of struggling for a bit to, access the reward of having a huge audience and a huge personal brand. And so the more content you make, the more your audience compounds along with their trust. And so let's say I'm doing cold outreach to get clients. I send 100 cold DMs a day, and let's say I have 1% booking rate, which is pretty typical. Okay, so for every 100 cold DMs I send, I get one person that books a call. That means every time I send 100 DMs, I get one booked call. So 100 DMs, one booked call. 500 DMs, 5 booked calls. 1,000 DMs, 10 booked calls. You get the gist. It's linear, okay? The growth is linear. I put this much in, I get this much out. With content, the growth is exponential, but the reason why most people don't take advantage of this exponential growth is because they don't see it right away, okay? The truth is, it's not like you're going to make your first piece of content and you're going to get 1,000 followers and a million people wanting to buy your product or service. No. It takes time and it takes effort to actually achieve that outcome. And so they give up. And this is why a lot of people blame content. They say content doesn't work, content doesn't slow, and they give up. But if you stick with it long enough, you'll see that your audience compounds and so does their trust. This is huge. Not only is your audience compounding, but the more content you put out, the more value you provide, the more of an authority figure you seem to your community, the more trust is built up and the more goodwill is built up with your audience, which is huge. And so that's a problem with direct response. You're sending an email or people are seeing you for the first time. They don't trust you because they never saw you before. And by creating content and growing a personal brand, you also have the opportunity to capture and own your audience's attention, okay? So think about it like this. You see an ad, you're not interested in it. You scroll away and you forget about the person. Or you get a cold message, you're not interested in it, you don't trust the person, you leave them on read, okay? While with content, you might watch a valuable piece of content and you see that the creator has a free group where they give even more value away for free. So you join the group, you get even more value, you build even more trust, and you buy sometime down the line. So you're getting nurtured, and this person's providing so much value to you that you're like, hey, if this person's free value is this good, I wonder what their paid value is like, which is the product or service of the person. And so you get to own the attention of the person and always stay on the top of their mind, which is huge. Okay? We live in you've probably heard this a lot of times. We live in an attention economy. Before it was oil, now it's attention. Whoever has the most attention will make the most amount of money. Okay? This is why people like Mr. Beast are on the path to becoming centibillionaires, over $100 billion. Okay? We're living in a new era. And as of now, the content economy or the creator economy is super under indexed. So take advantage of it while you can. And so here's a quick scenario that I drew out between, let's say, Mark's attention, someone named Mark, and Jack's content, and how owning attention works into this. So for example, let's say we have Mark's attention. Okay, Mark's on YouTube or whatnot, and he stumbles upon Jack's content. He watches Jack's content, and then Jack doesn't have any sort of mechanism or any call to action embedded into his content that allows him to own Mark's attention. So what does Mark do? His attention has to go somewhere, so his attention goes to somebody else, and that's the end of the journey. Okay, between Mark's attention and Jack's content. And so The second scenario where Jack actually does have a mechanism to own Mark's attention, this is what it looks like. So you have Mark's attention, he watches Jack's content, and then within Jack's content, Jack has a call to action that says, hey, if you got any value from this, we have a free group where we provide even more value, maybe have some weekly calls or whatnot. And so Mark's like, hey, I got value from this video, I want even more value from this person. So he joins Jack's free group, okay? And now Mark's attention is still on Jack, okay? He's still on the top of Jack is still on the top of Mark's mind. And so what happens? Mark says to himself, hey, I gotta, even if it's a month or a year, Mark basically says, I got so much value from Jack for free. I wonder what Jack's paid value is like. If this is why you have to you can't give away fluff. This is why you have to give away real value. Give away your secret, sell the implementation. Mark basically says, hey, I got so much value from Jack. I wonder what Jack's paid product or service is like. And that's where Mark goes to Jack's paid product or service, hops on a call, boom, Mark already has the trust of Jack. The sales call doesn't even take that long. Boom, he buys, end of journey. Okay? So this first scenario, the end of the journey is after the video because he didn't own the attention of Mark. The second scenario, Mark joined his free group, got nurtured, buys the product or service, and then from there. And so this also means that you aren't competing for the ultra competitive 3% of the market. You're getting a piece of the 90% of the market that everyone else neglects. So this is the larger market formula, and essentially when you're doing direct response, this is the part of the market that you're aiming towards, that you want people to buy. Okay, you're only targeting the 3% of the market if you're doing direct response. But if you're creating content, you're providing value, you're nurturing people with a free group, some sort of mechanism to own their attention, this is all the other aspects of the market that you're targeting. And even the people that aren't problem aware, if you create belief shifting content, if you make people realize that they have a problem, then you're moving them up the ladder. Okay, and so this is why it's so important to create content where you change people's beliefs and you provide value, so you can target this whole triangle. And so when somebody opens a piece of content, it happens because of one of the following reasons, and this is from highest intent to lowest. So they either searched for it, they have a problem that needs solving, they clicked on it, which grabbed their attention, or got put in front of them, so they stumbled upon it. Okay? And if the content delivers value and the viewer watches to the end, it means that the viewer now remembers the creator of the content as a knowledgeable authority figure that solved the problem or provided value for free. So if you create content that delivers in value, then the way the person perceives you in their mind is way up here now. Okay, you increased in status, you solved one of their problems, you provided value, the person perceives you as an authority figure now. And so when somebody opens a cold DM or watches an ad, they already know that your main intention for putting the cold DM or ad in front of their face is to sell them down the road at some point. Okay, and so the difference between how the two people are perceived, the direct response person, the person who's running the paid ads, sending the cold DMs, they're perceived as someone who's trying to sell something. Okay, and the content creator, since they provided value, solved one of their problems, it's a person who's trying to help, and this makes a world's difference. Okay, it's all about how you're perceived, what your intent is, and how much value you provided. Okay, because the thing that the difference between these two people is how much value they provided to their prospect, and that's what allows the prospect to make that decision in their mind, whether the person is someone who's just trying to sell them something or the person's trying to actually help them. And so now the content creator has an opportunity to put a call to action at the end of their content to drive the viewer to a free group where even more value is provided. Okay? So now the viewer is getting nurtured over a period of time until they get to a point where they think to themselves, and I already said this, if their free stuff is this good, I wonder how good their paid stuff is. Okay? And that's when you convert them. Okay? I mean, and when your prospects are thinking, have this thought in their head, the sales cycle is so much shorter because you don't have to build rapport, build trust. You don't have to handle a million objections. You've already proven to them that you can deliver and that you can deliver value. And so you don't have to go through the whole thing of, 5-phase sales call. Like, they already trust you. Take my money. They're going to send you a pic of their card. Okay. But this was all able to happen because you provided value and approached them as somebody who wants to help through your content. You captured and owned their attention by sending them to a free group, so you owned their attention, you stayed on the top of their mind, and you provided even more value and nurtured them over time, so more content and value. And it all comes back to the human brain. It all comes back to psychology. The human brain essentially has 3 levels to it. The first one is the reptilian brain. This is responsible for basic survival functions such as heart rate, breathing, body temperature, and balance. So this is basically the fight or flight part of your brain. The limbic system. The limbic system is responsible for more complex functions such as emotions, value judgments, and the formation of memories. So this is the emotional part of the brain. And they have the neocortex. It's responsible for high-order brain functions such as cognition, sensory perception, generating motor commands, spatial reasoning, conscious thought, and language. So this is the logical reasoning part of the brain. So you have the fight or flight, emotions, logical reasoning. And here's a visual portrayal of that. And so when you put direct response marketing in front of somebody, the person observing it will most likely process the information in the reptilian part of the brain. Okay? The reptilian part of the brain. Especially if the marketing does a bad job of building familiarity, especially if the person never saw this person before, especially if the person has a bad opening message, has no context, just comes out of nowhere trying to sell something. Okay? They're in fight or flight mode, which is not good. And so what you need to do is bring the prospect down to the neocortex part of the brain, the logical reasoning part of the brain. Okay? And when somebody's observing a piece of content that either solves a problem or provides value, then they won't be using the reptilian part of their brain because they know that the intention behind the content, the intention, is that they aren't consuming it to get sold on something, it's to provide value. Okay? And so this is why direct response or like salespeople are frowned upon, because if the person knows that the intention, the prospect knows that the intention behind the salesperson is just to sell them, not to really help them and to provide value. Okay? And so the more content they consume over time, the more value they absorb, and the more trust they build, the more money they will spend. Okay? Data backs this up. And so higher educated prospects have shorter sales cycles and spend more money. Even if direct response is your main way of advertising, you still have to have content in your sales process because it all comes back to trust. So even if you're somebody who purely relies on direct response, you still have to have content, case studies, social proof somewhere in your sales cycle, a nurturing sequence, or else they're not going to trust you and they're not going to buy from you because the competition is so high. They have a million other direct response marketers out there who they'll just go to, who seems more established, has more social proof, and they'll just buy from them. And so put yourself in the shoes of a woman, since typically it's men who are the ones trying to pick up the woman. If a random dude who you've never seen before comes up to you and just says, hey, let's go on a date, you might say yes if he's good looking, right? But the thing is, if you don't know him, you don't trust him, you might forget about him. Okay, so you might not even show up to the date. And the same thing happens in the world of business. If you get a prospect to book a call and they aren't consuming any of your content before the sales call, they aren't going to trust you. So why would they even show up in the first place? Okay? And so let's say you have someone who books a call and you have the call. Okay? And in between those two things, there's a gap. Okay? And if you have nothing in that gap, you know what? Nobody's going to show up and you're not going to close anybody. Okay? And so what you need to do is in that gap between the booked call and the call, you need to bombard them with content. So you need to have case studies being sent out, objection handling content, pieces of content that handles objections before they even hop on the call. And you need to have educational assets being sent out to them, shifting their beliefs and making them realize that they have a problem that needs to be solved. Okay? And so what's this going to do? It's going to increase your show-up rate, higher closing rate, objections handled before the call even starts, shorter sales cycle, more money spent. Okay? So even if you're a direct response marketer, you need to have content going out. You need to be perceived as someone who can make a change and who can provide value and someone who wants to help. And so you need to get on camera and put yourself in front of the world. Give to the world and it will give back. And here's the thing, with AI, content is getting easier and easier to create. Things like ideation, scripting, and editing is all being taken over by AI. So this is what you need to do to kind of give you a big overview of it. Start posting valuable content online. Make sure to make it somewhat entertaining, because if your content's boring and you're just talking, boring person, and nobody's going to watch to the end, and if nobody's watching to the end, your content's not going to get pushed out, okay, and nobody's going to see it, therefore it's not going to get any results. And you're going to start complaining that content's not working when in reality you just don't know how to make good content that gets pushed out and retains people to the end so more people can watch it. Because the main objective of these platforms, short form platforms, YouTube, it's to make people stay on their platform. And so if these platforms see that you can't retain a person to the end, why would they want more people watching your video? Okay? And so then after they consume your content, You want to drive the traffic to either a lead magnet or a group, okay? Better yet, make a lead magnet, and the only way they can access it is by joining the group. So for example, you say, hey, I made this 50-page document where I go over X, and the only way to get access to this is if you join the group. And then you collect their information in that group, and you send it, you email it to them or whatnot. You get them in your ecosystem essentially, and then boom, you provide value. Just keep providing value, and then there'll be a point where you make a direct response post in that group, and you convert them. Okay. And so you basically start a conversation, book them on a call, and you convert them. It's very simple. And so the barrier to creating content has been lowered. Instead of having to pay editors, social media managers, and creative directors hundreds of dollars every month, you can essentially cut that cost in half with AI. If you're not adapting to AI, you're crazy, because AI, it's not a trend. People say AI is a trend, like it's gonna go away, like kind of like Bitcoin or crypto, or like these trends that kind of stayed popular then just kind of died down. No, AI's the trend is only gonna go up, especially when AGI gets released. It's a whole new species coming to Earth, and so you need to adapt to it. Okay, and so NVIDIA already came out with a thing, like literally today as I'm making this, they came out with a thing that they came out with these artificial AI nurses that you can pay them $7 an hour, I think, and it does everything that a normal nurse can do. And so AI, it's not a joke. You have to adapt to it. And so one person can do the work of what 3 people used to do. Having a SMICE automating the content creation process for you will be a huge help. And if you don't know what a SMICE is, it's a social media AI specialist. Okay, so it's somebody who has a deep understanding of social media and leverages AI tools to automate this process for you. Doing what 3 people used to do, one person can do now with the help of AI. And so to kind of show you what that looks like, typically when you don't have an audience and you want to get a big audience, to get to the thing that fills that gap is you creating content and creating a personal brand. And if you want to actually not die doing this and actually not get burnt out, you want to have a team. And so typically what that team would look like, they used to look like having a creative director, an editor, and a social media manager. And the creative director, they find the trends, they give you the insights, topics, hooks. The editor would manage the files, edit it. The social media would write the captions or whatnot and post the content for you. If you want to do it efficiently and actually have a chance of getting an audience, this is what it would look like. But now, since we're in the AI revolution, you can have one SMICE doing the work of what these 3 people used to do. And then and this person, let me tell you, this person's not doing any extra work, and the quality of the work is not decreasing. These AI tools are so innovative and so advanced that this one person can do what these 3 people used to do. The work is going to look better, the quality is going to look better, it's going to get delivered way faster and for much cheaper, essentially cutting the cost in half. Okay, and so this person finds the trends using AI, topics, hooks. This is kind of already making sure you have a library and having data that proves that what you're going to provide in this section actually works. Managing the files, editing the video, leveraging AI, copywriting, posting, just all these, each step leveraging AI tools, and making sure that we're being as efficient as possible and not decreasing the quality of anything that's coming out and that we're producing. And so what is the result of this? Well, it's going to be cheaper, faster, and better results. And you're probably wondering, wait, how's it better results? Well, AI does everything that humans can do, but it does it better. Okay, matter of fact, AI does everything that humans can't do. AI can process so much data to the point like if a human brain wanted to process the same amount of data, it'll literally explode. Like, I don't know if you saw the new NVIDIA chip that Jensen created. Oh my gosh, things are about to get so crazy. And so content, due to AI, content has never been easier, cheaper, and more efficient to create. Okay, and we all know this man right here. The only reason why you know this guy is because he started creating content, which he was originally opposed to. And so basically how Alex Hormozi tells the story is that he was always pure direct response, didn't believe in brand, didn't believe in content, until one day he saw that Kylie Jenner became the youngest self-made billionaire. And he was like, what the heck? I'm way older than her. She has way more money than me. It's not like she knows she's better at business than me. What's going on? And he realized that she has a huge audience and she has a brand. And if you have a brand, oh no, we're grinding. It's no sleeping. And he's like, okay, if she has a huge brand and a huge audience, she can sell whatever she wants. The product doesn't even have to be good. Okay, I'm not saying sell a bad product if you have a brand. Because if you sell a bad product to your audience, the goodwill of your brand the status of your brand is going to get decreased. But she can literally sell whatever she wants, and it's going to get 1 million sales, 10 million sales, 100 million sales. So that's when you realized, hey, maybe content and having a brand isn't BS, like I was tricked into thinking. And so that's why we all know him. That's why he has like 2 million followers on Instagram, because he stuck with it. He created over hundreds upon hundreds of podcast episodes, hundreds of short form content, YouTube. He just stuck with it. Okay. And if he came out with some sort of service that was like 10 grand, oh my God. But he is literally the definition of delaying gratification and, waiting for the biggest result. And so Hormozi always preaches expanding your time horizon. The people who can expand their time horizon the most will be the most successful. And so think of it like an airplane. The shorter the runway, the less it can take off, opposed to the longer the runway, the more it can take off. And so the longer you can expand the longer you can make your runway, the more you're going to be able to take off. And so stop chasing the short-term money and start playing the long-term game. Only the people who are playing the long-term game will last. It's literally never been cheaper and easier to start. And so if you're wondering how we're scaling personal brands with AI and social media AI specialists, there's a link in the description to book in a call, and we can take a look at your situation and how it can be applied to your own personal brand. And so thank you for watching this video, and I'll speak to you soon. Bye.